So the film, in this way, exemplifies many ideas from social identity theory, which you'll learn all about on Thursday, but which you know jack about right now. Although the lecture for social identity theory and the lecture for the grand illusion are both posted on DSpace, so if you want to go check them out before or briefly after the film, go for it. It'll make the next two lectures more boring, but you'll be more informed. Okay, so the prompt for the essay. What is the prompt for the essay? Identify three bases of group difference in the film The Grand Illusion. Explain how each basis of group difference either is or is not transcended, i.e. exposed to be an illusion in the film. So what you want to do as you do this is you identify three bases of group difference that the people in the film either do or do not overcome to find connection with one another. You want to use specific evidence from the film, and you want to use at least one concept or piece of research from the social identity theory lecture and or the Stetson-Burt's article, which is on social identity theory and identity theory. So at least make reference to some concept or piece of research so that I have some sense that you're going to lecture. Obviously, all of you are going to lecture, but some of your colleagues are not. And then some sense that you're reading. So use at least one concept from the lectures or the Stetson-Burt's article. I'm overusing this thing. I apologize. I just really like using it. Okay. And definitely use specific evidence from the film, right? Because you have to do that to make any sense at all in response to this prompt. Questions? There's more to this assignment, but yes. Good. Okay, I'll get to that. Okay, so actually, let me finish doing the assignment, and then we'll do questions. So, first thing, you should have a thesis. You should have a thesis statement. On initial perusal of the Cool and Luke essays, we are concerned that you're not always doing the thesis thing. You got to do the thesis thing and then support the thesis thing by doing the evidence thing. Okay, and if you do that, you can't do very bad. You're going to do at least pretty well. Can the two of you please stop talking? Thank you. Okay. So you should have a thesis, probably something on group difference in the film, proving to be real, an illusion, or some mix. Since that's, remember, the main thing you're doing in the prompt is identifying three bases of group difference in the grand illusion and explaining how they're transcended or not. Your thesis probably should refer to that. Your thesis should probably say the grand illusion is a film about how bases of social difference are transcended, or readily transcended during times of war. Or it could be grand illusion is a film about how fundamental bases of social difference are incredibly difficult to transcend, and then you support that. Okay. Or it's about how some social differences get transcended and some don't. Some kind of thesis statement like that would fit the prompt well. This paper will be graded, like ABC, etc. And in an A paper, we'll have a thesis, three bases of group difference, explain how the bases are or not transcended in the film, illustrate them with evidence from the film, and discuss them with concepts or research from class, and do so using proper structure and clear language. I know that sounds like a lot, but if you do that within it. Okay, and then more detail on the essay will be in the Thursday lecture, where I'll talk about the film that you've just watched and how it connects to the assignment, and I'll really make this assignment very straightforward for you by the time we're done. So if you come on Thursday, if the Grand Illusion lecture is going to really help, do not miss that. Okay, structure, answer your question, sir. 4 to 5 pages, double space, essentially the same structure as the last essay, the Cool and Luke essay. I went 5-paragraph essay style, but again, it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly 5 paragraphs. Clear thesis statement is in the first paragraph, the intro paragraph. Usually it's the last sentence or second to last sentence of the intro paragraph. Actually, the way I usually do it is I say a couple introductory sentences, then I say the thesis statement is going to be the main thing that I'm going to support. Then I give a sentence that explains the evidence that I'll give in support of it. Like, the three bases of social difference that I examine that are transcended in the film are X, Y, and Z. And then I move on to the first body paragraph and discuss X, the next body paragraph and discuss Y, the next body paragraph and discuss Z, and then I go to my concluding paragraph where I restate the thesis and then try really hard to say some poignant sentence that somehow makes the essay seem more significant and dramatic and all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about? How you sit there and you try to make that last sentence where you're like, and that's why the grand illusion sums up all of life, and you try to do that. Okay, so questions about this 5-paragraph essay style? Yes? Oh, yes. Will this be at the media? So yes, the film will be on reserve at the media center, I believe, tomorrow morning, or tomorrow by noon or so. Okay. More questions? Yes, sir? I don't think I'll be able to do it online. I know Netflix doesn't stream it, so and it's not like available online that I'm aware of. Yeah. What's that? Second? Oh really? Oh, okay. All right. So someone I don't know that this has all the parts in it, but this one it has every part. Okay. So this one says that it's in 13 parts on YouTube, so that's one way to see it. That's amazing. It's in 13 parts. But what I would do is just come to the show and sit. That's what I would do. Because then you can watch it with everybody else, and you can yell and hoot and holler with joy over the amazing 1937 special effects. You can throw popcorn one another. It'll be beautiful. Yeah. Is it in English? No, it's subtitled. Yeah. More questions? Yes, Steve. Where's it showing? Here, I think. No. There's a B-Space announcement about this. Is it 5 or 5:30? I don't remember. 5 o'clock here. It's showing. Okay. All right, so a couple of last things about format. Please have standard margins and fonts, and proofread your paper, and your paper is due Thursday, March 19th, so next Thursday. Okay? Questions about this? All right, the social identity theory lecture will be important to you. It will continue through to next Tuesday, so if you're trying to use material from that lecture, you might read ahead in it so you can knock the essay out early. Otherwise, you won't get all the content from the lecture in the lecture until next Tuesday, which still, I mean, most of you will do this in the 48 hours beforehand anyway, but should you be the kind of person who wants to knock it out on Sunday, just read ahead in the lecture slides and read Stetson-Burke, and you should be good. Any questions? Okay, no questions. All right. Okay, so now, the next thing we're going to talk about in the class, because we're now in the sort of identity portion of the class, and right now we're focused on role identities, which we already defined in the Zimbardo lecture. So now, if you're going to talk about role identities, you're inevitably going to talk about this character, Irving Goffman. Who's heard of Irving Goffman before? Oh my God, looks like a bunch of sociology majors. Fantastic. So Irving Goffman is a very, very famous sociological social psychologist, and since you all heard of Irving Goffman before, you're going to know certain stuff about what Irving Goffman said. You probably know something about his dissertation, the presentation of self in everyday life, and so on. My purpose in this class is to give you, in this lecture, is to give you a sense of some of Irving Goffman's ideas that are relevant to the class. So this is just a hodgepodge of cool stuff about Irving Goffman. It is not here is Goffman's total collected thoughts, and and now you know Goffman when you're done. This is more like stuff Rob finds interesting about what Irving Goffman was talking about for 40 years. Okay, so let's start with a larger question. What is identity? An identity, definition of identity is a very useful definition. It's very possible it could be like multiple choice question on this definition. Identity is defined as different selves an individual may take on in social interaction, different ways the individual may view themselves. And the overall self is believed to be organized into multiple identities, and those identities exist at different levels, different like levels of specificity. Okay, so one level is personal identity, basically personality, and this includes your various approaches to interpersonal behavior, like you might be introverted, or you might be polite, or you might be gregarious, or you might be extroverted. So these are aspects of your personality, aspects of your personal identity, things that set you apart from other people. Also, emotional or psychological traits, characteristics you have. They aren't necessarily ways you go about interacting with others. They might be characteristics you have. Like you might be an optimistic person, you might be moody. Again, these are aspects of your personal identity or personal identities that you have, parts of your personality. As you know, we don't do much on that in this class. We're not big on personality and personal identities because we're talking about situations and society and how that matters. Another level of identity is role identities. What are role identities? They're essentially positions in groups that have prescribed expectations for appropriate behavior. Go see the Zimbardo lecture for the full definition. So what are some examples of role identities? Well, we discussed this already. Student, friend, mother. Some of you are probably all three of those identities. If I was to list the role identities that I'm in, they would include, son, brother, Kansas basketball fan, big Kansas basketball fan, teacher, professor at Berkeley, etc. So these are positions you hold in groups that have prescribed appropriate behaviors. Social identities. This is another basis of identity, and this refers to groups that you're a member of. You don't necessarily fit a specific role in that group. Rather, you and everybody else in this group shares one identity. It's not I guess Kansas basketball fan would be more like a social identity then. But anyway, okay. And these are self-meanings in terms of groups to which you belong. So these would include things like nationality, race or ethnicity, political party, and yes, I guess being a Kansas basketball fan would fit more into social identities because it's a group I'm in. And we're going to talk more about social identities starting in the next lecture. And for today, we're going to talk more about role identities and specifically the stuff that Goffman had to say about this. So this is useful to get from this the definition of identity and the three levels we think identities work at: personal, role, and social group. Yes. It's a little bit confusing because students, for example, could be both a role identity and a social identity. And I agree with that point, but I would say that when you're a student as a role, it means different things in terms of how it would shape your behavior than when you're a student as in a social group. So, for example, if you go to a Cal football game or something like that, and you're all worked up as a group, rooting for for the team or for the shared group identity, that would be very much student as social group identity. Or let's say you were demonstrating against the university to oppose tuition hikes on undergraduate students or something like that. That would again be student would be a salient social identity that would be motivating your group behaviors. Now, student as a role would be more like you show up to class, and unlike the teacher, you listen and take notes and fill your appropriate role, which is complementary with other roles that are salient in the situation, like teacher would be the main one. So you can kind of see here where these are this is a very good question, where the same idea of student could be two different kinds of identity depending on the situation. Okay, so moving on. Personal identities, not covered in this class. We're not talking about that stuff. We acknowledge that they're important. If you're interested in personality, go take a personality class in the psych department. I highly advise Oliver John is an outstanding personality psychologist. He will teach you all about that far better than I could. Role identities. This we will be talking about in the class, so let's cover some basic principles about role identities. Okay, one basic principle is role conflict. And this is a concept that refers to when two roles are present in a situation and it leads to the experience of dissonance and frustration. So for example, you might be in a situation where you're a father and an undergraduate student, and you get a phone call from your kid in class, which you better have the ringer off, and you all of a sudden feel dissonance and frustration because you have to respond to your demands as a father while also being an undergraduate student. Alternatively, you could be trying to be a mother and a girlfriend. You could be trying to be on a date while you have kids at home, and this could be dissonance producing because there's role conflict. Or you can be a friend and a student where you're trying to talk to your friend about what you guys did last night in this class, and I keep telling you not to. So role conflict happens when there are multiple roles present in a situation, and it produces dissonance and frustration, and we can all think of examples of that. Some other stuff. Role expectations affect how you're perceived. When there's a salient role, people see you through the lens of that role, and the big example of that is being sane in an insane place. Even if you were sane in an insane place, you'd be perceived as insane because of the weight of role expectations. Also, roles constrain and direct behavior. Roles don't just affect the way you're perceived, they affect the way you actually behave. And the big example of that is the Zimbardo study, the Stanford okay, thank you. The Stanford prison experiment, which is a great example of how roles constrain and direct behavior. And so also the Zimbardo study exemplifies how subtle role cues can go a long way. If you just delouse people and book them and pick them up in a cop car, they'll start to mark off the days on the walls of their prison cell, even though they're not really in prison. And both these things are strong evidence of the power of the situation, as well as the Thomas theorem. Okay, so and roles can have real effects on. Roles can have real effects on a person. They don't just activate and direct behavior in a situation. They can actually wind up leaking through and actually shaping your stable opinions and attitudes and essentially your personal identities. Remember that thought often follows behavior, not just preceding behavior. That if a role identity compels you to behave in some way, then your thoughts may come to fall in line with that behavior. Remember that if I pay you just $1 to lie to somebody, you'll convince yourself that it wasn't a lie. Okay, and this is consistent with the labeling theory of deviance, which says that when we book criminals, we book criminals and put them in prison. Sure, they may have started as criminal, but when we're done labeling them as deviant and criminal, you better believe that they're criminal and deviant by the end of that process. Okay, next we'll talk about Irving Goffman. Let's take a 5-minute break, and when we come back from the break, I'll tell you how we get the exams back to you, and we'll talk about Irving Goffman, who's really, really interesting. Okay. turn tonight. Okay. Okay, if I can get your attention. Okay, so as I mentioned at the end of class today, which I will end a little bit early, so that we'll have more time to pass back the exams. At the end of class today, you will get back the exam, but you need to know which reader to go to. Last time we did this, and then we cleverly switched it on you. You got out there, and it was a hilarious preaching experiment that led to a half-hour. Anyway, so yes, so that's fine. Hopefully it'll go better this time. If your last name is from A to C, then you will be getting yours from Kristen. Kristen, can you stand up so they can see? Yes, Kristen Ring. And then if your last name is from D to Hassan, then you will be getting yours from Alex. Alex is there. That's Alex. If your last name is Hogue, H-A-U-G, to K, then you'll be getting yours from Alma. Okay, that's Alma. I don't know why people are laughing. I don't understand. Okay, so, and if your last name is from L to Nilsson, then you're getting yours from Mike. That's Mike. Okay. Did everybody see that? He just threw his hand up and then he went, you got it. Okay, good. Okay. If your last name is from Niven to Skogo, then you're very cool. And I like those names. That's cool. And then you'll be going to Sandra. Sandra is there. And then if your last name is from Smith to the end of the alphabet, then you will go to Nicole. And Nicole is there? Okay, great. And then I'll be out there too to try and help out, and hopefully it'll go well. We'll hand them back out there, because there we have more space, and we can, breathe and stretch out a little bit, Yeah. Yes, ma'am. What's that? Sorry? Yeah, well, we'll try. Yeah, it's extremely hard. Yes, can we wait? Yes, we will try to wait until people get out there before we start calling names. And that will be the way we do it, is call the names. Yes, because that works best. The thing where you tell us the name and we try and find it took me about 10 minutes to figure out that that's stupid. But I did figure it out eventually. And then if you can't get it outside, then you can get your exam in office hours from Nora, which is always a backup way to get an assignment that's finished. Are there any other questions? Great. So there'll be 6 people calling off names outside starting when we end class. Now, back to the lecture. What we were talking about when we broke and had a nice relaxing break was Irving Goffman. We just started talking about Irving Goffman. Who is this guy, Irving Goffman? He lived from 1922 to 1982, so he died kind of young, actually. And he was a professor here at Berkeley, actually, from 1958 to 1968. In fact, there's many famous stories about Irving Goffman. Irving Goffman is a famously eccentric character, or was a famously eccentric character. He did sociology in a very distinctive way. He'd write these book-length treatises, these social psychological treatises, where he would interpret the world in terms of people acting out in a play. And this may have been a product of his very distinctive view on the world. He was sort of a social misfit, social outcast. And apparently he was just kind of constantly breaching, and sometimes on purpose, sometimes perhaps not on purpose. He was an eccentric guy. I know I've had various colleagues of mine tell me stories about what it was like to spend time with Irving Goffman. One person said that they were at a party with him in Boston, and everybody's like, oh, Irving Goffman's coming over, like, this should be interesting. And then he comes into the apartment and ignores everybody and goes directly into the kitchen, opens up the silverware drawer, and starts rearranging the silverware. For no apparent, and no one really ever knew what was going on. Another person told me that he was the kind of guy who would go over to a male professor's house for dinner and then immediately insult his wife's homemaking skills and stuff, and be like, oh wow, it's very strange you haven't worked in the garden for seemingly 2 or 3 years, and just immediately start breaching social etiquette blatantly. But then other people would give accounts like he could be a very, very nice guy, very sweet guy, you get to know him, and other people would say that he was very quiet. He would sort of hang in the back against the wall and sort of watch everybody else and survey the scene and make his little theories. So that's Irving Goffman. He was a role theorist and much more. I don't know why I wrote that. That's fun. And he proposed, among other things, dramaturgical analysis. What is dramaturgical analysis? It is the idea that you can view the world as a stage. You can view the social world as a stage where people are acting out parts or roles. So in a way, he's the quintessential role theorist. And basically, the theory of dramaturgical analysis is summed up well by this Shakespeare quote from As You Like It. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. It's a great quote. Okay, Irving Goffman is famous enough to have his own trading cards. You will perhaps one day be this famous of a sociologist to where you will have your own trading cards. I love these trading cards because they actually outline his strengths and weaknesses. The weaknesses, maybe too cynical. Is any behavior real? Special skills accidentally invented postmodernism. I don't call that a skill, but whatever. And this is part 6 of 12. So if you really enjoy this, we can get you the other 11. And this one was fun. I like